seeing it. I love something that just goes the complete opposite direction of what I'm thinking, but with how NRG looked, it felt like they were kind of beating themselves a little bit against FaZe, and if they pick up that defense, things could be over.
This one has the potential to get hot real quickly. There's no denying how good Spacestation have looked, especially in their last match today against Rogue. Retals, in particular, has had an insane weekend, and has certainly, if you're gonna pick an MVP runner for the weekend, it's Retals, but he just banged that one off the crossbar. Maybe not exactly how you want to solidify that case, but it is a clear for NRG.
I do like the timing, though. I mean, Retals has been a force to be reckoned with, and that's saying it in the nicest way possible, because Retals has been destroying quite literally everybody. And SSG, I think their clutch factor has improved dramatically. They've been able to equalize and find game-tying goals with, you know, seconds left. If you watch that Rogue series, you can see one in Game 5 that happened. And I think that clutch factor is what we've been missing from SSG. It seemed like they were falling a little bit short on the creativity, but they're back, they're better than ever, and they're here to take on NRG.
And this is actually the first time that both of these teams have met up in the spring. They've played against each other in Season X a total of, I was just doing a quick count, it's like 15, 16 times, I think it's more. It's a lot. And these teams know each other so well. The subconsciousness of how they approach the pitch, the intuitive game is on another level when these two meet. Arsenal will just blow through the entire NRG defense to strike first.
Garrett G talked about this, their unique slow style where they control the game. Arsenal recognized all that space, took the first touch around one defender, and then around the second gets the goal, a clean dribble to start things off in this series.
And you heard Retals in his interview when asked, hey, is there anything you're expecting or anything you're trying to watch out for, you know, in the semifinals? And he said, no, we're going to play our game. We're going to play our style. We don't care if teams think they've figured us out. We're going to force them to beat us at our game. And there's got to be some respect there for Retals.
Right.
It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're playing NRG or Envy, right? It's just, no, we're the best team. And there's a certain kind of moxie that comes with it.
Oh my.
Speaking of moxie, Justin's full of it. 1-1.
Look at this challenge in the air. Justin is going in here, not even looking for a shot on net. He's just trying to win that challenge. He got fortunate enough to have that one bolt all the way towards SSG's net. They can't get the rotation in time, because who's going to predict that from happening, Jorby?
Yeah, I mean, he just boxed Sypical out of the way. Now Justin underneath gets another flip reset. Sypical tried to do one himself, but Squishy was quick there for the challenge.
A lot of space given up to SSG from NRG. They are low on boost. A lot of times I'll see Squishy or Justin rotating back into their own corner, maybe a bit desperate to pick up a full boost pad. And I'm looking at Squishy mostly on NRG so far. I think that he was the guy who was making a lot of mistakes on defense, but also he was able to clutch it out. And here's a demo from Arsenal. Maybe it opened up some space, but I think he misread a couple of hits against FaZe. That was their main weakness on defense. Hopefully, for the NRG fans at least, that he can pick it up.
Oh, Retals just goes for the bump. Squishy barely gets that ball out. Arsenal was ready for Retals' play there, but Spacestation, they have to retreat, and they're happy to do so as Retals takes the challenge against Justin. Here, Retals again. Launches this forward. He wants that pass, but just a little too far. Squishy can take it out. Squishy can actually get a little bit more, and Retals just scoops that right off the corner and gets the ball back down. Justin cuts off Arsenal, and we're going to be seeing a lot of plays like that. Quick transitions denied, and quick transitions into open nets for Squishy.
And this quite easily could have been a goal for SSG. There was a player, it was Arsenal, looking for a demo on Squishy. He knew that Squishy had an opportunity that was going to be picture perfect, unless he got that demo. Unfortunately, he wasn't close enough. Squishy got up in time, gets the secure goal, and another overextension from SSG, which we're not too used to seeing, Jordan.
NRG are real quick on the transition. They haven't spent a lot of time in their half. They've done a good job of being able to contest midfield at pretty much every clear. But Spacestation are always lurking, waiting for that one hidden path that they can find. Squishy did try to delay Spacestation and allows Garrett and Justin, or Squishy rather, to try to move forward, but Arsenal picks the ball out. Retals flips it over Garrett. Justin and Squishy and Garrett all close together here in the corner. Sypical wants to take advantage, but Garrett's all over him. Wow. It's another open net, but luckily for Spacestation, it was just wide.
I mean, this has just been a repetitive pattern for NRG. It's constant wins in the midfield where you have speed that's far superior than anybody on SSG. They're winning the challenge games, and we saw what happened with Justin on that challenge win. And all 3 players from SSG end up overextending. Maybe it's because all of them are looking for demos. I feel like you should just rely on only Reddles to do that work so that you can have a safety net on defense.
Oh, well, Garrett's right there. I mean, NRG's defense is quick. They're finding these reads. They're in the perfect spot for them, so it's been tough for Space Station to really set up shop. Reynolds will flick it over. It's over Justin. Squishy has time to think about it, but Sipical on the bump, able to get the pass to Arsenal. Now Reynolds dump back in front to Sipical, off the crossbar, and it bounced down. Arsenal's there quickly. Space Station continue to press. Justin completely misses the touch. Garrett makes up for it and keeps Space Station at bay.
I mean, I feel like that shot should have gone in off the crossbar. You need to find the accuracy on that one against NRG. You don't get those opportunities too often, especially whenever NRG are back in form, and it seems like they have found that peak performance they were looking for. Squishy is able to drop this one down. NRG take a close game 1.
And NRG are still in their match, in their quarterfinal. You know, they're not trying to send the house. They're not trying to get too cute with the ball. They will take an opportunity if they see it. The most important thing for NRG is contesting midfield, getting that clear. Don't let Space Station set up shop in your half and rip off 5 shots before you can finally get a clear out, because that's when you get boost starved, right? But NRG continue to pick their battles well, and they've handled the risks. They've handled the risk excellently in game 1.
Well, it seems like NRG are prioritizing the transition. I mean, they don't want to focus too much on the aggression. Justin had 0 shots this game, by the way. That goal he got on the 50, that didn't even count as a shot for him. And when Justin has 0 shots in a game, that's how you know NRG have swapped things up a little bit. He's not being nearly as aggressive. They played a lot of defense, but there weren't too many opportunities given up directly to SSG, and that's because I've noticed a lot of the rotations on defense, NRG, they're shadowing each other. They're waiting for that one touch in the corner so that they can carry it out and focus on just keeping possession out of your defensive half.
Turtle, do you know what the percentage is for 1 goal on 0 shots?
No, let's hear it.
Infinity. Well, Justin's nuts.
That seems like the skill ceiling for Justin alone, so I'm not surprised.
Well, NRG collect that first win, though it wasn't without some struggles. Space Station, despite being able to put extended pressure on, there was a quick flurry of shots that they put on net that NRG really had to defend. A couple of infield passes. Space Station would love to get that set up right now. Arsenal trying to start that push. But you see the rest of Space Station waiting as Typical gets the next challenge, and it forces Garrett back. How do they get out of this scrap? Reddles hops right over him, and NRG still looking for a clear. They won't get it. Arsenal got a lot more boost, has the double, but no, Reddles can't get back. Garrett was able to swipe it.
Seems like the mechanics might be a little off for SSG. Justin was way too slow on the defensive challenge, and that opened up an opportunity for Arsenal to get a solid double tap. And he could have hit it either towards the net or even dropped down pass, but he chose the opposite corner. Bit of an awkward touch from him. I think SSG, they can clean up the mechanics a little bit. They'll be looking at much, much greater opportunities because they're there. The chances have presented themselves. They just need to jump on them. And
maybe they're feeling the stretch because they haven't been able to hit the back of the net against NRG. Their defense has been rock solid so far. That you have to start getting creative with the mechanics. Arsenal might not have to get creative at all here on the one-on-one. Tried to slip underneath Squishy. Reddles will pick this up. Maybe a setup here as Sipical waits for Squishy's clear. He has Reddles down in front. He sees Arsenal in the wing. He's got
Look
Sipical
at the passing.
Where's this pass to Reddles? Back to Arsenal.
Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable passing from Space Station Gaming. They picked him apart.
3, 4, let's make it 5, and then the shot comes in. That is how you pass the ball through your teammates. This is unreal from SSG. That's a highlight play right there.
I think NRG are gonna need new analog sticks for their camera.
Oh my God.
How many times are you on a swivel trying to make sure where every player is on Space Station during that play? In traffic, perfect execution. That's the thing that Space Station did in the fall that had everybody saying nobody's gonna beat this team. Typical.
I see moments like that happen, Jorby, and I'm so speechless because I was on the perspective of the goalkeeper, and it's impossible to follow the ball. It's just going left, right, left, right. You can't even keep track of it. You hit the brakes, you're at a standstill, and that type of passing is unbeatable. I want to see more from that out of SSG just because of how simply beautiful it was.
Garrett's got a little bit of space. He can hop it over one, but it's only going to be Reynolds who carries the ball back to the blue corner. Squishy going to let that ball down for Justin, and, well, Sypical going to hang on to midfield. Space Station, now they're getting some good pressure on NRG. Reynolds just pulls off the play. Squishy gets the pinch out to Garrett, but Garrett's so far back, and Arsenal will get there on his way out of the stadium.
Nice little demo from Squishy on the rotation back. He's the only player who is aggressive for NRG, going for the physical plays. And Garrett G sneaks it under the defender. Looks like a little bit of a fake was involved. And as the last man back, you're up against Garrett G, and that decision-making, you're not going to beat him.
He was anticipating that challenge. He knew where the last defender was, and so the way he orientated his car was just to make sure he could at least kill the ball. To slip it underneath, that's even better. NRG get that tying goal, and now they'd like to start on the kickoff, but it's right back to the back wall, excuse me. Garrett gets the continuing touch, and NRG will get a little breathing room.
Well, and you can see how much it benefits to focus on those transitions. Right there, we saw the last man back for NRG get demoed, but because Garrett G was focused on the transition, he was able to get it back regardless of the demo. That one was a good opportunity for SSG. They are knocking on the door, Jorby. It seems like something's going to fall for NRG.
Yeah, typical turn and tail here and running as NRG transition. He's the last man back, but Space Station ripped the ball out of their bumpers again. Reynolds slips underneath. Garrett has the save, but Arsenal kicks it back out to the side. Squishy's up there quickly. He can get the next touch out to Garrett. NRG a little slow to that. Squishy has to turn off the play, and Sypical will carry it back to the corner. Space Station continue to press. Reynolds next up here around the corner, and Garrett all over this Space Station attack. He has been tasked with challenging every single push here from Space Station.
Right.
And he's done well here to keep them out, but he's got to do it again, and it's another solid clear.
It's a very cautious style from NRG. I've been on Justin's camera this entire game, and he is so passive, patiently waiting on the right decision. He's not even challenging this ball until he knows he can get a good 50 like this, keep the possession going forward. Smart plays for NRG. They are in this for the long run. They don't want to overextend like we saw SSG in game one.
I mean, even earlier, Garrett was looking for some value on his rotation out. He saw Sypical coming back on the rotation and just took a quick left, demo him, and then he spawned right next to Reynolds, making it uncomfortable. So while it didn't really turn into anything, it's certainly annoying if you're on Space Station. NRG pressing again. Squishy wanted that, but he jumped a little too early. Arsenal back out to the corner. Justin has been waiting for a while, and now here's his time off the ceiling. He gets the dunk. Garrett was not expecting it. We're going to overtime.
Ooh, that was a scary moment for SSG. There was a team bump on the backboard with Arsenal and Sypical, I believe. Thankfully, though, for SSG, Reynolds had to save and predicted where they were trying to go with the ball. Here's Justin, maybe a little solo play. We haven't seen too much from him. A quiet series, but it seems like he is getting warmed up and going for some more mechanical plays.
Oh, Sypical speedy back to that ball in midfield. Squishy able to kick the ball away from Reynolds, but Reynolds is happy to steal that boost. Justin happy to steal the ball. Garrett's got one touch.
Double tap.
He has the second line. Dump and it's saved by Sypical, but the push continues for NRG. Squishy kept it locked in the corner. Justin next up for him, but he stops the ball in front of Arsenal. Sypical a little far back. Garrett one. Garrett two, and it's tied again. Garrett's doubles are deadly, and Space Station has been able to hop in front of them, but the second they aren't there, well, they better watch out.
Oh, man, and it's coming down to those pre-jumps. You have to predict where Garrett G is trying to find the double tap. We saw an earlier save where it was going top corner. SSG did find the pre-jump, but you're not going to get that lucky every time, I would say. Reynolds on the dribble, though. He could end it right here in OT. Doesn't want to, and we keep going.
Sypical tried to get underneath Justin, but he got the most of it. Arsenal misses this touch, but it's just for Reynolds. Justin gets bumped out of the way. Reynolds pumps one up for Sypical, but Garrett is there quickly. Justin kicks this one out and has it over one, but Reynolds ever so carefully on the back wall, able to get that clear out to Sypical.
And that's that passive play style from Garrett G. We have seen a couple of double tap attempts, but for the most part, he's going for better 50s. More as smart challenging as you can. I mean, really, this man does not want to lose any midfield challenge and give up possession. Squishy the double tap. He had the angle, but couldn't find it. There's been so many double tap attempts from NRG, but this SSG defense, they are reading every single play.
Justin gets underneath that one. That one looked interesting for Justin, but Squishy gets the catch. Squishy getting a lot of value on his touches, and he's able to kick this ball away from Spacestation. Spacestation have had to wait for NRG, who are winning every challenge here in the orange half, but nothing has been the truly threatening piece that they need. That shot in front of the box that will really force Spacestation to stretch. NRG almost got pushed back to the blue half. They get another clear. Here's a quick one from Sypical. Back to Reynolds. Justin was waiting for it, and another hard clear for Arsenal. Back down over to Sypical. Here comes Spacestation again. Can they do something crazy? Reynolds just leaves the ball. Garrett was definitely expecting it, and those are the little things right there. Garrett doesn't immediately turn in on that play. He's always expecting Reynolds to take that. He sees him in traffic, and Reynolds leaving it keeps NRG just stunned for a second on the move. It costs Garrett a little bit more time, but they get the clear.
But I do like the decision-making for Garrett G in the midfield to go for the midfield boost instead of challenging every single shot. And you talk about value. Garrett G is finding value in every single position he's in. He just got a demo, which relieves so much pressure. Squishy's then allowed to get this corner boost. And look at how much space he has. Nobody wants to challenge him. Let's see what he's got. Maybe a 50, trying to hustle, or muscle it in, excuse me. And he still had some hustle, but it wasn't enough.
Reynolds kicks it back out to the corner, but NRG starting to pick up the pace. Reynolds got the transition. Justin has the save, but it kicks up high, and Arsenal's the first one to the ball. Pass in front, but nobody jumps for it. Garrett all over the passing lanes for Spacestation, all over the challenge game in the corner. Reynolds gets another kick downfield for Spacestation, but Justin's there in midfield, and overtime plays on.
It's those little 1v1 moments that Garrett G is leaving for Justin and Squishy. I think we're waiting on one of those players to make use of what Garrett G is doing on the field. We just saw an opportunity for Squishy a few moments ago where he had the one-on-one, and now Justin was going for the boost. I thought maybe SSG caught him out of position, but he got back just in time.
Yeah, they almost caught NRG out on transition completely. Arsenal able to steal that ball away in midfield, forcing the challenge to the side, but Squishy's playing him close. Squishy doesn't even need to be there. Garrett doing all the work himself to get the ball back out to midfield, but here comes Reynolds. Reynolds beating Squishy over to the side. Arsenal continues the push, but Sypical next up for the play. Spacestation with a demo from Arsenal, and Sypical behind the ball have Squishy to beat, but they can't do it. Reynolds gets the touch out, and NRG's defense, ironclad, back to the
double tap.
Half. No double for Garrett, he's out of boost.
We were just waiting for better communication out of SSG. There was an opportunity.
He got it.
And speaking of opportunities, Reynolds made one out of thin air.
Pixel perfect precision from Reynolds on a dunk as well. Good night, Justin. And Spacestation have tied up the series.
That's some revenge from the previous game where Justin got that 50 in the midfield that somehow squeezed in. I'm getting a little flashback to that one as well, but that seemed a bit more deliberate. Reynolds going in, waits a bit on the challenge, and we've seen this a lot so far in this regional where players are actually opting to not use all their boost, wait a little bit so that they come in late to the challenge, can get the dunk, and potentially an opportunity. It works out for Reynolds here. And just smart plays overall. It does feel like NRG, though, in my eyes, had a bit more possession, a bit more opportunities. But as long as the SSG defense can hold down, I'm not complaining.
I mean, that's what I was going to say to you, Turtle, is I felt like we were saying NRG's names over and over and over again. Just they had so many perfect transitions. Spacestation's defense was good enough to make NRG consistently fight for midfield. I don't feel like they ever had that, that iron grip on in midfield. They certainly did on defense, but that was much more contested from Spacestation. The difference was just NRG stopped playing as passively as they were, and whoever first man was, they'll just dive at the ball. They don't want to give Spacestation all that room on the transition. Otherwise, you're going to see that like 7-point passing play that you saw earlier happen, and they don't want that.
Those types of plays are so fun to watch because as a spectator, you're just trying to keep track of the ball in general, and you don't even expect the rotations that keep coming through, and that just is a testament to how solid the SSG communication has been. There was a little slip up at the end of the last game, but it doesn't matter if you come out clutch in the end. Garrett G has had a couple of double tap attempts, goes for another one here. And I want to see better solo plays out of NRG. I've said it and I'll say it again. Squishy Muffins and Justin. I think we need to see a little bit more mechanics from them going in for these setups from Garrett G, because he's doing so much of the heavy lifting. He does it again here and sets up Justin.
Justin is squishy, but how about Garrett G? Turtle has a perfect read off the ceiling. Reynolds and Sypical were frozen on the goal line. And he forced a double commit. Garrett's the hardest working man on the pitch right now.
Listen to me. I ain't complaining
listening.
about
I'm
Garrett G. All right,
Okay,
I'm not complaining
okay.
about Garrett G.
Right,
I'm
you're saying Squishy and Justin pick it up.
They need to match that level. And
Okay.
there, he was in position. They're able to capitalize off the fantastic plays of Garrett G. I want more of that.
I mean, look, man, I think you need to put some credit on Squishy. He's been just going ham on the challenges.
That's true. That's true.
He's not wowing you with double flip reset, triple tap into the
Reynolds
net.
in midfield.
But does he need to? He might.
Oh!
Reynolds gets the tip in on the dunk. Space Station are right back in it.
Reynolds knew that we were talking a little bit too much about NRG because check out this play. Find the challenge, and he times that flip. And you see he actually keeps boosting on the challenge because he knows there's a chance he could find a follow-up. While that play seems a bit all over the place, it was 100% calculated from Reynolds to find that second touch, at least keeping the ball in that half, let alone get a goal.
You know, the little things that you do, like keep boosting through a play, it's just for the potential for disaster, and Reynolds is an entire storm on the pitch.
Reynolds is in his final form. Check this man out. The flip reset gets the second follow-up touch. 2 goals for SSG, both to Reynolds' name.
Reynolds, there he is. He hadn't had a ton of chances in previous games, but now he's got 2 goals to his name at the start of this one. And Arsenal just says, Sipical, get out of my way. But Sipical will get back behind the ball. Justin, that pinch actually favors Squishy, but then he gets harassed out of the way by Sipical. Arsenal on the flick, he's by Justin. Now Garrett coming back on the rotation to support Squishy on the push.
Oh, the fake from Reynolds. I like the idea in the corner play. Mostly whenever that ball does get tossed into the corner, it's been an NRG 50 win. Oh. And there's challenges that are resulting in favor of SSG, which is surprising because mostly throughout this series so far, it has been all NRG. It seems like SSG have realized how to approach these challenges and get better solid wins.
Now Justin just cuts off Arsenal, but Sipical comes in for the follow-up. Justin has Garrett to support. Justin was not in a favorable spot. He's still not with 1 boost. He's held on to this 1 boost like his life depends on it, and he gets a couple of challenges. Still, though, Arsenal passing out to the side can force the ball to stay in the third, but for how long? Space Station starting to do what NRG did to them in the last game, controlling the game and able to control possession. Justin has a little bit of space now off the ceiling. He sees Garrett downfield, but Sipical, everybody misses the ball. Sipical was hoping Garrett would touch it, and nobody gets the touch.
Well, and it was a near impossible angle for Garrett G to even put that one on target. He did go for the weird backwards touch, but couldn't find it. Here's Justin. Needs to get a touch. He does find it. Garrett G in the corner. Can't get a challenge. Again, it's typical winning with the 50-50s that notably before we did see NRG taking the win in that aspect, and SSG continue on this offensive pressure.
Sipical just trying to keep that ball close. He got the boost too. He hopped it over another. Garrett picked up the save. But Space Station, Reynolds just missed that touch, and that's gonna kill the high pressure drive that Space Station had going for them. But Reynolds wants to create a little chaos, so he kicks Justin out of the way. Bought time for Sipical and Arsenal to move forward. Arsenal dunk another one, and Reynolds has to let that one go.
Garrett G, you've got to get up early to this one. Maybe another double tap attempt. He doesn't have the boost for it though. Left it for Squishy. And there's still a defender in net. The SSG defensive line have been tested, but they passed.
Squishy keeps it going for NRG. Has the touch out, wants to keep it close for Garrett. Garrett doesn't get the touch, and Squishy has to buy time. Justin diving back for the quick stop. Space Station waiting for this Justin clear, but well, it never comes to them. It's back to the wall. Sipical pops it over again. Squishy just got caught out. He makes up for it with 1 and 2 touches back to the corner. A scary situation turned into a sigh of relief here for NRG, but Squishy's low on boost, and now it might be time to panic. Justin wants the clear. Sipical, nice catch on the wheel. He's got plenty of boost too. Squishy wanted that boost, and Garrett will close the gap. This is tenuous control in the corner from NRG. Arsenal couldn't screen across. Justin gets a massive clear.
Man, just look at the challenges going in favor of SSG. Arsenal just destroyed, I believe it was Garrett G on that 50. And they keep winning them to keep this ball in the half of NRG. It seems like there is a huge lack of boost for NRG when they do move out. But SSG, come on, something has got to break on both sides with the amount of pressure both teams have managed to put on.
NRG, it's time to hit the urgency button for game 3. Reynolds lets Garrett come up to challenge. Sipical barely got that one away from Garrett. Arsenal has the challenge against Justin. Now Squishy getting pushed out of the way. Really just, there was like a magnetic field in front of Arsenal. He's just still getting in the way of Squishy. So much time killed off the clock. We talked about Garrett creating value in the physical game, but Arsenal, he kind of made his name initially in the RLCS off of his physical game. But
that's so frustrating.
Right back on it.
Nobody wants to deal with an aggressive Arsenal. Squishy was stuck in the corner, and he's like, okay, finally, I have some time to dribble out of here. Can I please get some space? And instead, Arsenal does the opposite. He literally rams him on the side after coming in from the corner, and Squishy is just left in no man's land looking to get some boost. It's a frustrating part of this game. And SSG have found that old style that they were used to with the demos, the small solo plays, and they're incorporating a little bit more of smarter challenges as well. So this is a well-rounded team, Jordan.
I do feel this was a mirror from the last game, Turtle. It was just Space Station with the control, and that was a nice flip reset shot from Reddles. But NRG had opportunities like that. Like, they let that one go, and the shot was just weak, right? Like, the play just kind of got disjointed. They either didn't get the exact touch that they were positioned for, or the touch that they did get just wasn't strong enough. And I think that's just credit to when you spend so much time on the blue half, and you finally do get to the orange half, you feel like you're playing on borrowed time, especially when Space Station have the lead, right?
Yeah, and well, I'm also not sure if on those plays, like where Garrett G, left the ball off the backboard, maybe the communication was a bit off, because in that situation, you have to make sure you call it early in time for your teammates in your voice chat, because otherwise, again, you're going to get a soft shot. Nobody's prepared for it. Something needs to start clicking for NRG, otherwise SSG, I mean, this could just be an absolute takeaway from them in this series where they storm through them.
And they did have a couple of mistakes, NRG did, but I do feel like, you know, they were able to work with a lot of chances that they do have. Here's a nice pass back to Garrett, but Arsenal's all over it. It's that kind of defense that's really frustrating for them to crack through.
It's that read from Arsenal. You get so frustrated when you're trying to move through the ball. I feel for both teams, actually, but consider the quality of passes. We did see that SSG, what was it, 5-6 touch passing play. That is worthy enough of breaking down the NRG defense for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure Space Station would love so much more of that. We'll see if they can find the vision. Sipical finds the dunk, and Squishy hustles backwards, able to get the touch, but it's right back into Reddles. He'll collect that midfield boost, buy some time for his team here. That's not the touch he wants, but everyone will wait for Reddles.
I was a little bit confused at first of what Reddles was doing, but it's been working out. They have carried on and held on to this possession the entire time. Reddles took it slow, had a bit of an awkward touch, went for the air dribble, got a better 50, and because of that, they were able to waste time.
Squishy also had like 28 boosts, so he couldn't exactly get up to that challenge. He had to wait, but I mean, you're totally right regardless. Justin tries to find the angle. Reddles misses the ball, and Justin can kick it out to the side, but more work needs to be done. Squishy pulling off the play. Sipical found a clear lane. Justin pulls off for Garrett on the spawn, and Arsenal gets this back into the orange half.
It's so awkward for NRG because of how well SSG have been rotating and taking on these challenges. They are so slow when they need to be. Taking a patient approach has ended up breaking the NRG rotation, and Garrett G found the last second save from the crossbar, keeping his team alive.
And the flip reset to push it forward out of boost. Quick pass, Reynolds nailed it to the sky, top 1-0.
They are relentless. The pass from Sipical into the midfield. Justin and Squishy are caught in basically the same spot. Nobody anticipated the pass, and that's because they had to react to another goal line save from their own teammate, Garrett G, scrambling around, looking for boost. Space Station Gaming are here to play.
Reynolds' shot was 125 kilometers per hour. Garrett's shot, who cares how fast it is? It's right into the net. NRG get right back in it.
And this started with the demo from Garrett G, who then had the recognition to get back into rotation. He got the demo himself, so he knew more than anybody else that net was going to be wide open. Finds the angle. Still feel like Space Station Gaming are in control of this game, but that's a good way to get back into it from NRG, excuse me.
Well, it has been tougher for Space Station to find real estate to work with in the blue half, although Reddles creates some here, and Squishy getting up to that ball quickly. Sypical cutting them off, but Justin, he's next on the ball. Looks for the far side, and Reynolds can pick up the save, but a double commit from Space Station will leave them frozen on the goal line. Sypical drops that one down. Garrett hops right on him, but Justin is the whole way back and has to wait now for Sypical. Not the best spot to be in. Sypical almost found him. Reynolds on the backside. Justin now again transition. Pass to the middle for Squishy. One to beat. Squishy, hard shot. Does he have it? No. He's happy to take that boost away. Knew Arsenal would get it, but Arsenal gets a massive clear, and NRG got to try again.
An unfortunate miss from Squishy. I feel like if that was Arsenal on the play, he would have taken a slower approach, and maybe that is what Squishy needs to start doing on these 1v1 plays. We have seen him in a couple of fortunate opportunities, but still empty-handed as NRG look to regain control. It still doesn't feel like they have a lot of control in this game here, Jordan.
No, I mean, both teams are so desperate to be the faster team. You saw Squishy jumping at challenges early. You see Arsenal even, like, just trying to get up as early as possible. And you've seen a couple of broken passing plays on both sides because of that desire to be faster. Like, that just shows you the amount of respect that they have for each other, because they don't think that they can get him with the mind games that often. They gotta beat him with speed. Reynolds,
Justin has no boost.
High. He's got the shot, but Justin gets up there barely. Garrett gets that touch close, and there's a lot of space there for Arsenal to cover, but it gets back out to midfield.
Man. Justin on that save had 4 boosts, and you had to time it perfectly when you're jumping up. Nobody wants to challenge the backboard double touch. Now you're thinking for SSG that should have been a goal, but for NRG they do manage to escape. And Squishy's up here, not in time. Garrett G has been the savior for NRG in their defense.
Has been an incredible goalkeeper at the very, very least in the game. It's still squared at 1. Garrett, pre-flip into the ball, can't quite get back to it. And now here comes NRG, but Squishy, again challenged here by Space Station. They're a bit disjointed on the rotation. Garrett hops right back on top of it. This is a clear lane for Arsenal, and Reynolds able to find Sypical on the backside. Now Space Station have control from midfield. How do they use it? Reynolds gets the dunk, kicks Justin out of the play. Can't find Squishy, who just wants this ball out.
What a dunk.
That's right down to Arsenal. Shot high that Garrett can grab. 46 boost left in his tank, and the shot comes right back, and it's saved off the post by Squishy Muffins.
That was the best rotation from Squishy I think we've seen all game long. He went on the backboard instead of challenging that shot early so he could get the chance in case that shot came to the far right post. It did, and he got the save he needed to in order to force this OT.
Arsenal forced out by Garrett on the challenge. Oh, Justin committed with Garrett on the play. A little too speedy for their liking. Justin buys a little bit of time, though. And Garrett, after collecting this midfield boost, will hold things down in midfield. The ceiling, whoa, Justin, or Squishy, excuse me, got in front of that one. And things slow down here for a moment as Space Station get a large clear downfield.
See what Garrett G has to work with now when the demo comes out for Squishy. No boost in the tank for Garrett G, but he's going for the mind game. Almost got him, but Sypical did not take the bait.
Justin was happy to leave the ball, trying to bait Arsenal into it. But Arsenal, no shot for him. Squishy will get a hard clear. Here comes Sypical again. Justin had the challenge off the ceiling, but Arsenal next to catch the ball. Garrett was frozen behind. Now Squishy back out to the corner. Sypical makes the next challenge happen. Space Station have had some quality opportunities. They've been playing close together. And while the defense from NRG has been clutch, clutch sometimes isn't the way you want to play. It's a little scary. Squishy, hard clear back out to Garrett. He's got that redirect, but Arsenal was already ready for it. So Space Station, can they stop this Harry from NRG? Squishy right on top of Sypical, and the push, Garrett has to wait. He was hoping for boost to spawn, but none do. Quick taps right in front. Arsenal gets harassed by Garrett, and now Justin sweeps back in. One-on-one underneath Sypical. Justin does it again. NRG take the game.
Garrett G got a half flip bump in the midfield. He was nowhere near that challenge. The only way he could find a demo or a bump on Arsenal was if he half flipped backwards. Just barely got a touch on Arsenal, ruined his dribble, and you set up Justin, who 9 times out of 10 will hit that flip reset shot.
He's certainly been going for them in these last few games. Every time he's gotten control of the ball, when he's not having to dive back to make a challenge happen to save his team from getting scored on. Yeah, Justin does Justin things. He's gonna go for the flip reset. He loves to control the ball. That's where he's most comfortable playing the game. And without Garrett G, this is a Space Station victory. I mean, he was so clutch on the goal line. So many threatening opportunities from Space Station that they just could not convert because of this stalwart defense.
Oh my gosh, not only did Garrett G get the saves like we're seeing in the replay package, but he somehow managed to get that half flip bump. This play from Justin started from the physicality of Garrett G and his tenacity, honestly, to just keep going at the ball. In that situation, you would have rotated back. SSG, for how good they look, it seems like it's not enough right now to stop Garrett G.
Well, Space Station, what do they have to offer now for NRG?
Oh, they've got Reynolds. They've got Reynolds to
another
offer.
card. They do have Reynolds to offer.
If you're offering Reynolds, that man has been unstoppable as well throughout the entire regional event. I'm scared of him as well.
He got the flip reset to secure the victory in the game previous to the last one.
Yeah.
And as the match goes on, it gets tighter. You can start feeling the tension on the pitch. It's been present at all times, as Squishy and Justin were both up for that. It's not the first, second, or even third time for either squad that we've seen these double commits.
Yeah.
And they are in tight situations. Both teams have to be careful, because it will come a time where someone picks you apart for it. Typical. Forces the ball back out around to the corner. A demo that opens up space, but Squishy's right there to cover.
This is just so much pressure to deal with, so much aggression. At first, I saw Arsenal go in for the rotation into NRG's half, take the boost, go for a demo, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe Arsenal's the one who's going to be aggressive. And then, all of a sudden, Reynolds gets a demo. And then Typical right after gets another demo. Reynolds is going for mind games. It's going corner, back to the other corner in NRG's half. Somehow they managed to hold on, but for how long against this SSG that is focused on aggression?
Reynolds pops it over Garrett, and Squishy will find Justin on the wing. NRG might not have found consistent success in the orange half, but success has been found. It has been a battle in the trenches by Space Station and NRG for the privilege of playing in the grand final. Garrett on the retreat, as well as Justin. Squishy tries to buy a little bit of time, and he only bought about a half second, but that's all Garrett G needed to get that next touch.
Seems like Justin is breaking out of the shell a little bit. Getting more comfortable. Reynolds found the snipe off the pass from Typical in the midfield. Where did this come from?
From Reynolds just launching it downfield. Typical was like, I'm here in case you need me. He didn't need him.
Bro, I had no idea. I thought Typical somehow got I was like, wait, what? Where did this pass come from? I was on Justin's cam settings. He's rotating in a net. My goodness, SSG, explosive.
You said it. Ooh. Space Station have Reynolds to offer, but NRG have an entire offense to offer here. Justin forced off the challenge by Reynolds, and Arsenal could carry this one out. He's got a little bit more boost left, forces the ball in front of the box. Justin gets the clear out to the corner. Reynolds closing the gap now against Squishy, flips it over him. Justin makes a diving stop, but here comes the rebound. Typical just missed it. Justin has a little bit of time to finesse it out.
Oh, and you see what the play that they were going for. Justin looking for the flick out to Garrett G. All about the counterattacks. Can you catch Space Station Gaming too far forward like you did in game one? That's the question for NRG. It hasn't been too optimistic, I'd say, for them, but they are only one goal away. Half the game left. Plenty of time to make up for it, but also plenty of time for Space Station to get a security goal.
And NRG they haven't had a lot of space to get creative. You see them constantly having to go to the backboard, to go to the gaps on the back wall to try to get these doubles, just to try to force a bad touch out of Space Station. I don't even think they believe that they're going to score on those doubles, because they know Space Station are there on the defense, and so they haven't been able to crack through it yet. Squishy frozen. Reynolds takes the pass in front, but Arsenal had Squishy in a tough spot that could have been a hard shot on net.
You just have to avoid getting bullied by all three players from Space Station, and typically you have to worry about one, maybe two at most. It's usually Arsenal and Reynolds, but now if you give the aggression back, still not enough to break that defense. Arsenal found that goal line save, looking like Garrett G in the earlier half.
Now Squishy, so much hustle and try to keep that play alive, and just had too much juice on the pass back to Garrett, but he's given another chance underneath. Squishy Muffins almost found it and is back across the corner. Arsenal, Reynolds, no one can find the touch. Arsenal whip back around Garrett. Garrett does what he can to force that ball off of Arsenal, and Reynolds will keep the push going. Typical next up, he gets deleted. Squishy keep that ball away for as long as possible, and Garrett will get back to it. That's been the name of the game. Just hold on from this Space Station attack, but they need more offense. They have not been able to sneak through the corners in the orange half. They've been locked tight shut by Space Station, even as NRG have forced them to go laterally. Garrett underneath, didn't even get the touch, and it's back out to the side.
Arsenal's been making some crucial touches to keep Space Station alive and in the lead. As we can see, I've watched Justin and his camera settings. Mostly, it's been Reddles staying on the backboard, trying to get awkward bumps, and then now winning the challenge in the corner. Squishy gets bumped on the back line, too. There is so much aggression from Space Station. That looks like a play, too. Garrett G misses the opportunity. What is going on, Jordan?
There were several degrees of question marks for me there, because you had a one-on-one where you could have ripped Garrett could have ripped a hard shot, or it was Garrett or Squishy. One of them could have ripped a hard shot on net. Maybe forced a poor touch, but maybe you just think Space Station never not have boost. Either way, NRG, last push. Here we go. Typical. Hits the clear back downfield.
That's gotta be
Reddles, easy all day for Reddles. He buys insurance, and it's good for Space Station.
And this time, Sipical did actually get that assist in, coming from his own half. You know NRG are desperate, looking to tie it up. Justin's known for those buzzer beater goals, but Space Station, they want to deny him, and they do so with that clear.
Now NRG left in the waste by Space Station. One more game, and Space Station will be sitting in the grand finals.
It's just rude, really. I think Space Station Gaming, the way I describe their playstyle, simply put, rude. They are going for the weirdest bumps on NRG that I've ever seen. Like, there was a play where Reddles was rotating on the NRG's half, stopped on the backboard, and we have a Space Station Gaming timeout as well, I just heard, which is very bizarre. I'm not sure, maybe somebody had to go to the bathroom or something. No, apparently it's a strategy. Okay.
It's a class. This is a classic book out of the sports playbook, which is you ice the other team, you have them on the ropes, and NRG so good at fighting back in these games. Game 7 is certainly on the horizon, but Space Station with a tactical timeout here, they're just gonna make NRG think about it for a little longer.
That's what I'm saying. Space Station Gaming, they're rude right now. We've seen the demos that they go for, the bump plays. I was in the process of explaining it before I got surprised by this timeout that I didn't expect. Reddles just stayed on the backboard and waited for Squishy to rotate up, didn't even see him, ended up bumping him anyway. And that's the type of bizarre plays that Space Station want to do. They want to aggravate NRG, get them frustrated, break down the communication somehow, and find this win.
Chrome has been jawing it up in this tactical timeout, trying to get the team, keep them focused. Yeah, you're up a game, but remember, it's NRG you're playing against. Who knows what he's saying? He's probably, he might be talking about his, his favorite car, or he might be talking about his favorite wheels in Rocket League, which are the watermelon wheels, obviously.
Yeah,
and
come on, man.
I mean, but for Space Station Turtle, this is exactly how they've looked all weekend. Johnny Boy has been saying it as well. He feels like they've looked the best out of any NA team in this regional. And I mean, you could see why. Like, Reddles is all over the place. Arsenal in this match has been the biggest nuisance to NRG. It's like a wasp just flying around. You can't actually hit it, and you just get stung every time you do go for a swat, and you can't actually hit it. So where does it go for NRG? Where do you go from here?
I don't think it's one wasp, Jorby. There's 3 of them on the field.
Swarm.
Because it's literally all of them going for these insane aggressive rotations. And for NRG, I think you just got to fight fire with fire at this point. Start demoing them. Usually we see Squishy get a bit frustrated. He goes for demos. I want to see everybody do it. That's what won the play previously for Garrett G. He got the half flip in midfield, then set up the opportunity for Justin. We need more of that from NRG. You cannot sit back and let Space Station Gaming bully you. Otherwise, it's going to be over.
The stakes get a little higher in Game 6. We head to Neo Tokyo, and we're underway. Reddles, hard shot, good luck!
Goodness.
Space Station striking first.
And you know Garrett G wanted to go for the demo. He was trying to get Reddles, but Reddles already knew. He took a wider rotation, saw that Garrett G was going to go for the bump play, dodged him completely, got a cheeky little chip shot into the corner. That's how you start a game out.
Well, that's a statement right after that tactical timeout. Squishy gets the pass to Justin and can't find the net. This has been happening to NRG since the last game that they won. They have not been able to find those quality shot opportunities, Turtle. It's always next to the post, a little high, a little wide, but not exactly what you need. And the times it is, well, all of Space Station are there to take it over.
Well, that was the issue against Exa when they had to get the reverse sweep. They couldn't find any accuracy, and there have been chances. Out of NRG, Justin with the pre-jump, sets up Garrett G, who's no boost. Does go for a bit of a fake, gets a 50, and they can keep this pressure going.
Squishy pass over to Justin, and finally NRG cracked through. It took a couple of passes and a couple of shots, but eventually they tie it.
Yeah, we were waiting for this to work out with a 50 from Squishy, who did all the legwork in that play. Won the challenge, then gets the recovery to get another toss-up out to the middle. Lovely play from Squishy. And that sets him up for a little bit of a comeback here. Space Station Gaming. We'll see if that frustrates him.
NRG here with Justin, able to get underneath Reddles. I'm thinking back to that Justin pre-jump on the Squishy pass, and I can't help but think that in a microcosm, that's how NRG feel mentally right now. Like they feel like they're just, you know, kind of bouncing a little bit with the energy, but also with just how Space Station, you just feel like you have to be on your toes at all times.
Oh, and there's a demo from Garrett G. That's what I wanted to see more, Jorby. And to your point, I mean, you're talking about the pre-jump from Justin in the midfield. That's almost what NRG are forced to rely on. Crazy plays like this, then Squishy gets a demo in the corner. They're fighting fire with fire, and we have seen the most pressure and offense from NRG we've seen in quite some time.
Oh, Squishy Muffins. He's had himself quite a series. He's set up a lot of these opportunities for NRG, but they just have not been able to crack through all three Space Station defenders. It may take deleting them off the pitch to do so. Arsenal gets underneath one. Garrett cuts off the corner. Arsenal's happy to leave that one for Reddles. Reddles comes back around on the dish. Can't find it. Sipical can't either. Reddles got bumped back into the ball, and Justin uses a lot of boost to pick up some speed. Garrett will not commit. He'll wait for Arsenal, and he's rewarded with a shot on net, but Reddles was ready for it, and Space Station Gaming, not a lot of sweat on defense. Squishy's able to force the ball back out to Justin. Reddles comes back off the back wall. Squishy, another pass. No, it's cut off by Arsenal.
Oh, here's Garrett G in the midfield. He's been going for demos, trying to break him down. Tosses it out to Justin, who almost had a good play previously on the dribble. Couldn't find the angle to get it out to Garrett G, but the ideas are there from NRG. Justin now getting a demo. More and more aggression. And it hasn't broken down Space Station. Instead, it's had a reverse effect, and your own defense can't handle it.
The mere presence of Reddles brings NRG down.
Oh, man.
And gravity's just too heavy. They fell too fast. Reddles didn't even like, he just threw that being like, yeah, NRG are gonna like, you know, knock that one. It just went through.
Well, it was Squishy who was trying to get the read off the backboard. He looked a bit shaky in their previous matchup. I was worried and concerned for him coming in here. But it's only one goal. You've got 2 minutes left, plenty of time. And with the aggression, I definitely expect an equalizer.
Oh, Justin. He bumped Reddles out of net, but Garrett was just slow coming to the shot, and he didn't have a way to find the angle. Again, broken offense from NRG. And I don't know if they can find all the pieces to put it back together. They only need one, but it feels Herculean almost to be able to punch through Space Station's net. Now Sipical. The ball left for him by Arsenal. He forces the ball down, flat, Squishy. Gets the ball to the corner for Garrett. NRG, desperate for a clear, but the ball just falls right back into Arsenal. Justin, last one back, and he gets the touch.
Space Station's ability to read the play, not only on defense, but now on offense. Typical, a double tap attempt leaves it for Reddles. Maybe Arsenal can clean this one up and finalize this win. That was terrifying. For a second there, we could see Space Station getting a bit all over the place here, Jordan.
Yeah, what a save from Justin. Last bastion of defense for NRG. They cannot allow this goal or this ball to go in a third time on their half. This has to end in a 2-2. At the very, very least for overtime. Justin off the ceiling, taken away by Arsenal, and he'll stay right behind it. Gives Garrett no chance at the ball. Arsenal pass to defenders.
Oh, that's the end. That's
nobody
it.
Home. Arsenal home wrecker 3-1.
47 seconds left. You go up 2 goals, all thanks to Arsenal on the 1v1 dribble. Flicks over, one lands and recovers on the sidewall, finds that angle. You've just got to hold on, Jorby, and you win this series.
Reynolds said in his interview after the quarterfinals, we aren't going to play anyone else's game. There's only one game to play, and that's Space Station Gaming. Sypical has the catch here, flicks it over Justin. Squishy, desperate for a clear, but Sypical's all over him. Sypical almost found the goal. Squishy tries to get this clear out. NRG in a last desperate gasp for offense, trying to push forward, but midfield is tough to get by. Justin does what he can to get by. Garrett getting harassed by Arsenal again, slows Garrett down. Now Squishy pops this one up high. They need to score with time left. Another pass from Squishy. Reynolds misses the ball. Justin is flat, and the touch, that's not gonna help NRG. Space Station Gaming ended in 6. They move to the grand finals.
Absolutely dismantling not only the NRG defense, but their offense. They found ways to boost starve NRG, to predict every single shot, to find the pre-jump save. They knew exactly where NRG wanted to move with the ball, how they were going to rotate, and they caught them off guard in every aspect. That is how you recover, I would say, for Space Station Gaming, because in this game alone, NRG brought demos, they brought aggression, crazy mechanical plays, and it wasn't enough to phase them. That is resilience from Space Station Gaming. I don't know how you're going to beat this team, Jorby. I'm just going to say it. Space Station Gaming, they look unbeatable. Absolutely unbeatable.
They look tough. And for Envy and G2, both of them, they got to worry about this next semifinal coming up. But Space Station are the final boss this time. Who goes to face that boss? You find out after the break.